You are listening to the Thanks for Trying podcast, episode 6, hosted by myself, the last Skeptik, with my very special guests, Sam Duckworth, aka Get Cape, Wear Cape, Fly, and Gary Powell of the Libertines. As always, the Thanks for Trying podcast has been recorded in my front room in front of a bunch of mates, so things get real fucking sweary, and there's a lot of smutty shit being spoken. Thank you so much to Monte Alban Mezcal for getting us all drunk, really drunk, and shout out to Seb White for recording the show. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Thanks for Trying podcast, hosted by myself, the last Skeptik. I'm honoured today because I've got two great friends of mine here joining me in my front room with my pals, and that's Gary Powell of the Libertines and Sam Duckworth. Yeah. Now, I've been saying to you, Gary, for like the past 20 minutes to not talk to me because I had about so many things to talk to you about, and I wanted you to save them until we were on air.
Well, I want to talk to you now. You didn't want to talk to me then. Maybe I don't want to talk to you now.
That's quite deep, man. Well, you're going to have to talk to me because you came in here brandishing a directed by Wes Anderson pin on your jacket.
You called it a pin.
Yeah,
no one else calls it a pin. I call it a pin.
You call it a pin?
Yeah.
I'm really impressed, man.
Really
did you wear that specifically because you know I'm a geek for Wes Anderson?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
God, tell me you did. Make me feel special.
No, absolutely, that is exactly why I did it.
What's your favorite Wes Anderson film? Hit me. I don't want to know if it's the same as mine.
Well, you tell me.
Obviously, it's The Life Aquatic. Obviously, come on now.
Oh, okay.
You're giving me the side eye. Sam, do you have a favorite Wes Anderson film?
Darjeeling Limited.
You know what? I love Darjeeling Limited, yeah, and people hate that film.
Yeah, people hate good things, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They really
I
do.
did like the Darjeeling Limited, but for me, it is kind of a Life Aquatic. Couple that with the Bowie Brazilian soundtrack as well. That was what's his name?
So George.
Yeah,
yeah.
George. Whoa, were you kidding me?
Whoa,
genius.
I love everything about that film. That's definitely number 1, and then I think Darjeeling number 2. Just purely because I want to go on trains around India now, which is what I'm planning to do, just to recreate that entire film.
Is that the plan?
That is the plan. How are you, Sam, man?
I'm very good.
I feel like I've been blessed because I've seen you so many times in the past 3 weeks.
This is a record, isn't it?
This is crazy. I'd hardly seen you for like 2 years, and then all in one. You've been really fucking busy at the moment.
Very busy. This is quite odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is quite an odd scenario.
And we haven't aged a day, which is really nice.
Which is great, yeah.
You both look as young and beautiful as we did in 2009. You're only 25, so
I'm straight, baby.
That's pretty
Word
good.
up.
And you've been tell a little something, because like the last thing that I did with you was the Summer of Love thing, which I think is very fascinating. One of the reasons I was quite excited to get you both on the Thanks for Trying podcast together is because you both very political and we share a lot of the same kind of opinion on stuff, and I wanted you to talk a lot about talk about the Summer of Love thing to get let's explain it a little bit, because it was a fucking brilliant concept.
Well, I think for the benefit of people listening on the podcast, I'm brown, so I noticed the kind of tension touring quite a lot. Like, bizarrely, a lot of the places that I tend to do really well touring wise, or at least certainly the crowds that are the most interesting, are places that are now referred to as leave towns.
Right.
And so I spent kind of 3 months in the run up to the referendum playing in these places, and I saw the terrible DIY banner making skills of places in England. Do you know what I mean? At least if you're going to have an Immigrants Out banner in your house, at least don't get your kids to write it. Do you know what I mean? But there was
lots of bad spelling, lots of crayon.
The spelling was all right.
Okay,
it's just they have no rulers. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
But
especially if you spell immigrant with an E.
Okay, and a Z somewhere in there. That just sounds like a good rap group, to be honest. Immigrants. I'd join that group.
Why did you say that here? You could have saved that.
Yeah, I could have saved that.
Yeah, I could sense tension, and it was odd because I was in this weird situation about a week before the referendum where it's like, I should put money on this. But I didn't particularly want to put money on an outcome that I was not necessarily, hoping to see. Yeah. And, as soon as that happened, I was at Glastonbury at the weekend. And to be honest, there wasn't a better place to find out that that it had gone the way that I kind of expected it to go. And it was about 4 a.m. when I found out. And, it's 4 a.m. at Glastonbury, so I was quite happy, shall we say.
Had 1 or 2 shandies.
Yeah, 1 or 2. And, I spent the weekend in the left field just kind of talking to people and finding out, I think because everybody was kind of so obsessed with the, the potential Labour split and, the Corbyn coup or the chicken coup, as it's been called, because everything needs 50 names in the Labour Party. And, just trying to work out what to do next. And I kind of took the opposite reaction. I think a lot of people were really angry and really kind of frustrated. And my first thought was, why?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why in the places where there's the highest subsidies is there the highest leave vote? So it's just about trying to organise events around the country, basically, to get people together to have group discussions, conversations, but also like to get together in the same room with people that they don't know.
Yeah.
I think that everything's so kind of divided into subculture or divided into, whether it's religion, whether it's music, everyone's kind of in groups, but those groups don't really cross over as much.
And this is to connect people no matter how they voted. Yeah,
exactly, because, I haven't asked the question because I think it's a good idea not to, but I'm fairly confident that the vast majority of my family voted Leave.
Wow.
Especially on my, the Burmese side of my family. Do you know what I mean? Or, not all of them, but you just don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I think shut the door behind us kind of thing.
Well, looking at Birmingham as well, do you know what I mean? 75% pretty much in areas of Birmingham with the highest areas of, of immigration in the UK in the last 50 years. So I don't necessarily think it was a referendum on that.
Yeah.
And that's a danger to me anyway of calling referendums, without quantifiable plans afterwards. It's just like it's a yes/no change vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want change?
And who the fuck knows where we are right now, And it's mad.
But it's slowed a little bit, do you know what I mean? And that's been the interesting thing. Like the Summer Love was so reactionary to start with.
Yeah.
That, it was that sense of, okay, this is happening. And now there's this weird uncertainty. It's almost like everybody's woken up a few days after, a big party and gone, oh, shit, what have I done?
Where am I? What house am I in? Yeah. True. Whose clothes am I wearing? That kind of normal stuff. Have you, I'm guessing, because you're quite political, Gary, online as well, and like you're very vocal about it. Have you come up against a lot of, if you argued with people? Because I definitely have.
I found myself arguing with people and then kind of stopped myself because I don't think right now is the time to argue with people. Yeah. And it's really interesting that what you're actually doing, because I'm actually attempting to do something similar in the beginning of September, or hopefully. All things planned, we're going to be hosting an event or a couple of events at Brixton Academy called Unity Rocks, and its main purpose is to actually not to concentrate so much on the fact that people have actually voted Brexit or voted in, but actually to concentrate on the fact that regardless of the way you voted, we're kind of in this no matter what. I could have voted out, you could have voted in, we can argue the task, but it still doesn't change the fact that jobs are going to be crap. The value of the pound is going down. Intolerance has increased around us. We're not in a unified state anymore. The idea of this actually being a united kingdom right now is kind of a bit of a joke.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
united
think we've
by
ever been united.
It's kind of
this is just
no, yeah, it is.
It's a giant stick.
It really has been magnified. Brexit. The one good thing that Brexit has actually done is kind of like brought all the reeds and all the crap to the surface, so we can actually all see what is going on. The problem that we have right now is that I think a lot of people are actually treating it as if it is kind of a cancerous cell that has come about because of Brexit. No, it's not because of Brexit.
Exactly.
It's because it's actually giving people the opportunity to voice their opinions. That's what it has done. But was it there before? Yeah, it was there before.
It's given a voice to that one guy you went to uni with that always hid behind a pint when you were talking about some legitimate shit. And now he's gone, actually,
and he's given
get those guys out of my country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's given a voice to the voiceless.
Yeah.
It's the first proportional representation, vote that we've had in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Just the idea that it's, we're not tied by the traditional boundaries of politics, and it's a yes/no question, or it's my vote's going to be the same as everybody else's vote.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of empowered lots of different sections of bullshit.
Yeah,
basically.
right. It really has.
It's a combination. I think that seeing what's going down in the left of Labour, it's brought the worst in that out.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like the best political strategy right now is just hold tight. Like Tim Farron's going down, isn't he? Just sit down.
Sit down.
Don't say
Everybody
anything.
chill.
Avoid the cameras.
Get some popcorn.
Chill.
And you end up a leader.
And you end up a leader. You know what? Politics aside for now, I'm sure we'll come back to that. What I was thinking of today, I had some, as I was about to write down something. Usually I write like a couple points that I want to talk to my guests about. And then I thought, no, today I'm not going to.
I knew it. He didn't write shit down.
No, I don't write nothing down. I'm not writing it down. You know why? Because I know you both so well. I don't need to write it down.
Good save.
And one of the things I was thinking about where I chuckled to myself was when me and you went to Budapest. Because I thought, that was a time, so we did Love Music Hate Racism show, Seagate Festival. So we headlined Seagate Festival. It was a lot of people. Some people say it was 50,000. I still say 70,000. It was a lot of people. And it was like this conglomerate of musicians, this menagerie of amazing musicians that came together and did this show together. Well, including like people like Hobbit, incredible beatboxer, and then you had like lots of like old punks as well, and then you had Sam singing and me like scratching and all that stuff.
And the wild card Jimmy Percy from Sham 69, the wild card, Drew McConnell, Baby Shambles,
cool.
yeah. And it was incredible, and we had a sick time in Budapest. And I was just thinking back about that and how drunk we got afterwards, and how I tried.
Unicum. The worst drink ever.
What did you drink?
It's a thing called Unicum.
Unicum. What is that?
Unicum.
It's awful.
It sounds
like if you've made some herbal tea and just left it in the sun for about 3 years and then just drunk it. Basically, it's awful. It's like Jägermeister times 10, isn't it?
Oh wow.
And it will set you off.
I just remember filling.
It's fun.
Yeah, I remember I filled a bin with sick before we left for the airport the day after, and that was to do with that, I think.
You weren't alone.
But no, you were fucking fantastic in that show, and I think everyone was. But the thing that I remembered most today that I'd hidden it in the depths of my mind that this happened, because it was such an embarrassing but hilarious scenario, is that our final song was Killing in the Name Of. We did a cover of Killing in the Name Of with Rage, and it was all of us just kind of like, and I was scratching on the chorus, and I had a mic in front of me. Loki was there as well, so Loki was doing a little rap in the middle, and my plan was to run out on stage after at the final chorus, right? If he remembers, and to run out on stage like the 70,000, just start rapping along to this song with everyone and just running around. And that just reminded me, Bipolar Sunshine was with us as well. It was a sick lineup of people. So I was with them, we were just running around. And so I was scratching, I finished, and I looked up and my mic was gone. I was like, fuck, okay. And then there was this tall dude stood next to me. And he looked so much like Zach from Rage. And I was like, he's got a mic. I took the mic off him, went, I need that, and then ran out. Then I got a tap on my shoulder and go, Corin, you have to give the mic back to that guy. And it turned out they were part of the Budapest, their local Rage Against the Machine tribute band, and they'd come along just to perform that song, and I'd stolen the mic from him because I was too drunk on stage. It's embarrassing,
the last
man.
Skeptik put in the semi into semi-professional.
I'm glad you saved that, man. Do you have any memory of that happening?
The whole thing was kind of wild, really.
So no, you don't.
Good, I'm very glad.
I was mostly just concerned it was all going to go wrong. That was that whole trip, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it was a really weird trip, because the idea was to put a collaborative project between local artists and basically take unified stance against the BNP and against Jobbik, and be like, this is a cross-cultural exchange. And it was kind of at first just like, let's put loads of bands and just do it. And it's like, well, if we're going to do something cross-cultural, let's actually try and do something that's involving of a musical exchange, as opposed to just like different bands on the same stage in a different order. And so it was it was cool. Like, there was lots of people there that I trusted. You know what I mean? In the sense of, you know, because I wouldn't necessarily say I was MDing it. It was more just throwing people into a room, knowing what people could do, and hoping that, you know, in between that we'd get something good.
Yeah.
And yeah, because Itch was out as well, wasn't he?
Itch was there. That's right.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of really bold characters.
Yeah.
And then
Bashy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the moment that was really, you know, the first thing that was odd was stepping into the embassy and everyone was just looking at each other like, what are we doing here? You know, we're in the British embassy in Budapest.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that, it was just, you know, because I think Jimmy exposed himself, didn't he, to the ambassador within like maybe an hour and a half.
He was wearing a skirt.
I mean, it was, you know, Jimmy's Jimmy, but it was like
he was trying to be classic punk.
And he is, but he was, you know, he thought, fuck it, you know, first time in Hungary, like let's.
Because when the Sham 69, to give context to the people, because I know absolutely nothing about, you know, the history of punk, but I remember reading something afterwards about him, Sham 69 being the first ever headliners of Glasgow or something like that, right? Well, so they were quite, you know, they did a lot.
I think to put them in context, like I think before the Victoria Park Rock Against Racism Carnival, like the big bands on that bill really were Sham 69 and Tom Robinson Band, and the Clash were a new band, you know, it was a new thing. And so like Jimmy, you know, his fan, like, well, Sham 69's fans were kind of on the other side, do you know what I mean? Like there's this thing now that like punk was homogenous, but the more people I speak to from that era, it definitely wasn't. Like there were, you know, there were football guys there, you know, there was you know, there were people that liked to fight, there was sectarianism in there. And Jimmy was kind of the, you know, when he went up and did White Riot with the Clash, it was a big moment that brought those two scenes together. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's like the new breed coming through with the Clash, but also like, you know, one of the instigators of kind of, you know, beery punk. Do you know what I mean? And Sham 69 are, you know, they are one of those bands that need to go in their own wing of the Punk Rock Hall of Fame just for like what they actually did. Yeah. You know, like it's that settlers get the gold, pioneers get the arrows, and I think that, you know, that's absolutely applicable to that band more than anyone else.
And ratings to him for flashing everybody at the British Embassy in Budapest in the middle of the day, then jumping in the fountain.
But at least he didn't leave his wife and kids to run off with the Hungarian leader of the organisation, which I think we can say unlibelous, because that is something that happened. Our British ambassador and our Hungarian ambassador thought, fuck it.
On that trip?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll read up about
it.
Holy shit! A lot of stuff happened there.
But after that, the whole thing kind of fell apart because of it. Where music transcends everything. Yeah. And you know, and there's, you know, division is something that people can understand. Yeah. And you know, and cultural reaction to division is something that people can understand too.
Of course.
And for me, that trip was great because it, you know, outside of all like the shaking hands and kissing babies thing that we had to do to try and actually make it work, like everybody was super receptive to it. Even just the idea of like, you know, a load of Brits on stage doing a Rage Against the Machine cover. It doesn't particularly sound like a good idea. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't, and it definitely wasn't the first idea. But at the same time, like people were there first night of the festival. They wanted to have fun, and it was just it was an exercise in like collectivism.
Exactly.
You know, it was horn sections, DJs. It was like a pylon, basically.
It was like so Gary Powell of the famous band the Libertines. You do these shows like it's nothing. You do these, you know, 70,000, 2 million.
Seriously,
like it's nothing.
Nobody does it like it's nothing. People pretend that they do it like it's nothing, but still, I remember. I sweat my ass off. That's why my shirt comes off because I sweat my ass off. I come out on stage and I literally have my eyes down and I kind of glance up and I go, oh, shit. And before I've even started playing, the sweat is pouring off.
Do you get nerves?
I don't really get nervous, no, but okay. I do attack.
Okay.
I do kind of attack. I kind of go full on.
You go on the offensive.
And then once I'm sat down and I'm ready to play, literally there could be 50,000 people or 5 people.
Yeah.
It means absolutely nothing, because I sit down and the first thing I do is actually look at all of the membranes that I'm going to hit, and I think, right, you're first.
So at what moment does it change? So you're nervous when you're walking up to your seat?
I don't get nervous, no, because like literally about an hour before the show, I kind of don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's it.
And I spend my time just kind of jumping around by myself, silently, and people will talk to me. And I think even for like the past 10 years, no one has realized that I'm not going to actually say anything back to them.
You're not listening.
The guys in the band, they're like, they say things to me, and they're not expecting a response at all.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm just going to look at them and just go, I just keep on jumping around. I'm not saying anything to anybody, because I'm literally just kind of zoning out.
Yeah.
And it's the only way that actually gets me through it. I mean, I kind of, a little bit like you, I kind of DJ, but not to the level of wiki wiki whack that you DJ. But I kind of DJ.
So basically, I just do it like the ad libs in Wild Wild West. If that's what you mean,
finally admitted it.
That's what you mean, then that's entirely accurate of what I do.
That was Budapest.
Wow. Excellent.
And every DJ gig I do, I'm nervous as balls.
Yeah.
Every single one, because I am not in control.
Right.
I don't prepare.
It's out of your comfort zone.
I don't prepare for shit. I really don't, because I don't know what I'm going to do, and I'm not. I'm actually absolutely an amazing DJ. I'm not. I'm really not. So when I actually turn up, I'm just kind of like, well, I look at the audience and I'm like, I haven't got a fucking clue what they want.
Yeah.
What do I give these people? I got no freaking idea, and it is nervous as balls. I'm just like, literally, there's like when as soon as somebody says, I'll usually be talking nonsense to somebody, because that's kind of what I do. Shut up, bitch! I would knock you out.
Nonsense. This is madness.
And then someone will say to me like, okay, you've got like maybe 2 tracks and then you're on. Yeah. And I haven't sorted anything out, because I know that when I actually sort things out, I actually look at what I have and I go, oh God. Yeah. Now, if we go back to the Libertines, I don't give myself that moment to actually concentrate on what I'm actually going into. I really don't. I kind of zone out. So by the time I walk out on stage, it ain't nothing but a bucket of chicken. I'm literally
sounds delicious.
Kind of in, because I know you like your food. Yeah. Oh God.
We did a high five. It was really weak.
It's the worst.
It was really awful. We overextended. I may have pulled a muscle.
I don't know.
It's kind of sensual.
It was. A lot of love.
Why do you want to just get a fishbowl and get some keys out in this thing and let's just see who ends up with whom? Jesus Christ!
Someone had to bring it up.
So because you've just recently done all the Libertines, so you've done all the touring. Have you got?
I haven't finished yet.
You haven't finished yet. No. Okay, cool.
I haven't finished yet. I think I've just been. I'm taking a week's vacation, but then after that, it's going to be. I'm concentrating Unity Rocks, and then I'm kind of gone until Christmas
with the specials.
Yeah, specials.
So was I allowed to say that? I don't know if it's.
Yeah, no, you are. Okay, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, no, because he mentioned it, and it kind of puts this really weird smile on my face, like you want to say, and now it's like excited. I got the call, kind of like unfortunate circumstances. I mean, obviously, John Bradbury, the original drummer from the Specials, died,
right,
and it's kind of. That a part and parcel of the Special sound is his interpretation of one-shots and rockers and so forth. He had this really, really kind of unique approach to what is kind of ostensibly kind of like an Afro-Caribbean kind of style of playing drums. Right. And he made it his own, but he also was very, very true to the style of playing as well. So it was so then for me to get asked to actually follow in his footsteps. Yeah. I got a tweet yesterday from Horace, the bass player, and he tweeted me because there's some dude in Rochester, New York, who wants to interview me about ska stuff. Wow. And Horace tweeted me saying, Gary, meet John, and then he kind of like hashtag drummer, hashtag for Specials. And I saw that, and I kind of looked at that, and I literally thought, holy shit balls. Horace is calling me the drummer from the Specials.
Holy shit.
The drummer from the Specials. I'm
as if the drummer from the Libertines wasn't enough.
The difference being that
Well, you grew up with the Specials as well.
Yeah, I grew up with the Specials as well. But I was a friend of the. We used to rehearse at like Ruse and crappy little studios together with the Libs. I mean, go to crappy pubs and kind of like put shackles together to try and buy a pint between the three of us, or the three of us at that point in time before we got signed, and then John rejoined the band. You know, we had nothing. Yeah. They were my friends before all of a sudden Pete started dating Kate Moss and Carl started doing cool ads and stuff. They were my mates that we used to come around my house because they got the money and we'd eat together and all that type of stuff and we're still watching videos because no one had any money to buy a DVD. They had nowhere to live. That is the difference. I grew up with those guys. Yeah. Whereas the Specials, I kind of grew up listening to those guys. I saw the Specials. I saw through Fun Boys 3 and these guys are idols. So I met Terry Hall we used to all hang out on the Essex Road, the Duke of Clarence, and we used to play like the odd kind of like Libertine-esque kind of show down there. And Terry Hall brought his kid down and we'd kind of hang out and stuff, and he rented his house, one of his houses out to Amy Winehouse and stuff, and I used to go hang out with Amy there and stuff, and so I knew Terry, but I knew Terry as like a Special. Terry would come up and say, "Hi, Gary," and I'd go, Hi Terry, how you doing? Good seeing you again, man. Cool. You know what? It was a big deal, and then to be asked to actually do that as well. Yeah.
What was the phone call like when you put the phone down? Did you have a little squeal?
No. Yes. Yes, I did. Yeah, it was really weird. I mean, I was telling you beforehand. I remember the first time I saw the video to Ghost Town. I hope none of them watching this or listening to this. That'd be really weird. And I remember I was a kid, and I quadrophenia was kind of the rage and stuff, and everybody was a rude boy. They were, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I've got to get myself a trench coat. I mean, I was young. There ain't no way my parents gave me no trench coat, but I had a duffel coat. So I kind of with tracing paper and a tongue sticking out, dribbling a lot, and crayons, I kind of made myself a target and pinned it to the back of my trench coat, to my duffel coat, because there was no way my parents weren't going to get me no trench coat. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I was in it from then. So then we roll forward, and I'm in the studio with them, and Lynn Vell says, all right, let's play Ghost Town, the first thing ever. And I regressed a bunch of years, and I nearly just leapt out of my seat and went, I remember when I was a kid, and I heard Ghost Town. But luckily for me, I kind of I reined that shit in.
And how long is the tour that you're going to be on? It's a long time.
It's a US tour. We start off in New York on September 9th.
Fuck, and then you're out until Christmas.
And then but the thing is, I mean, this is the wacky thing. This is really cool. Okay. I've got a monthly US tour, and then I fly from Vegas straight to somewhere in South America and start doing a Libs tour in South America. And then I finish that and fly straight back to somewhere up north in England and do a UK Specials tour.
Oh my god.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds really
It really does. I'm
really
holy shit balls. Am I doing that? Awesome. Wow, that's really cool.
Whoa.
That's really fucking cool.
Is there any point where you're going to end up playing Specials drums on a Libertines song? You get so confused. I'm sitting here, I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what I'm doing at the best of times.
That's true.
I mean, have you seen my kit? It's kind of like my junk. My junk is huge. And I just hit everything. I just hit everything really hard and lots of things all of the time. So generally speaking, who gives a fuck what I'm playing? Who gives a fuck? I'm just hitting shit hard. Fuck that.
I wish I could do that with DJing. I think I probably do. Just scratch really loudly and shout, "Don't look at me. Don't look me in the eyes." It's because I haven't actually seen you. I haven't seen you perform apart from with me when we did the shows.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the only time.
You nearly did come and see us play it.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't going to raise it because I didn't want to.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Are you allowed to talk about stuff?
We're totally fine. Oh, I can talk about whatever the fuck I like.
You can do what the fuck you want. I'm Gary Powell, bitch.
Yeah. If I was a superhero, my superpower would be super injunction.
I'm going to come back to that because I've just been reminded of as one of your Gary Powellisms that I say every single day, pretty much, to people.
Cool in the Gang?
No.
Damn!
No.
That is gold.
Oh, I thought that was another one.
Damn.
No, it was. Do you know who I think I am? Yeah. And I say it all the time. So I came to the Electric Ballroom because I was like, I'm going to watch the Libertines for the first time, and I was really excited.
Did you see me give my speech?
I didn't see you give your speech.
That's a really good thing.
And then the show didn't happen.
Yeah, it was for me. It was kind of doubly embarrassing because the show was kind of we were doing it on behalf of MOAS, the Migrant Offshore Aid Stations, and we'd be contacting those guys, and all of the proceeds were going directly to them. And I met them prior to the show. And they showed me some videos of they showed me this video of a life raft coming in that would normally hold about 400 people, and it had 2,000 people. They'd made it double level.
Yeah.
But it was literally just a large life raft.
Yeah.
And you saw all inside of it, and hygiene-wise, it was literally just disgusting. It was just terrible. And they showed a video of this boat landing. Mm-hmm. And all of his children coming off, and these children crying, and mothers kind of like holding onto the children, and it was literally the most heart-rendering thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. And this young child who would learn English on the life raft and just started singing this nursery rhyme to the people they're helping with a big beautiful smile on his face. Like, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is ridiculous. And then they asked me if I would kind of like go on stage and kind of like say something on behalf of on behalf of the cause, as it were. So I kind of did. In that, everybody that was attending, albeit a lot of people were there, just specifically just to kind of like hang out and see the Libertines. But there were a lot of people there who actually believed in the same things that we believed in with respect to that these are people who were desperate, who were in desperate need of assistance. Yeah. And they weren't getting it from anybody. So they had to kind of like do something for themselves, and more power to them, for actually making that leap of faith and getting themselves out of the shitty situation that they were in. Yeah, brave. And so what I wanted to kind of like, just to kind of vocalize that, we as opposed to the right-wing press, we actually do give a shit about their plight. Yeah. And the last thing I said was, something, people, we're here to have a good time, and we are all going to have a good time because we have the right of might on our side. So let's enjoy the time together and have a great show.
Let's have a great show together. And then what happens?
And that's the last that anybody saw of me.
So that show, I was there. I was really excited to see you for the first time. And that show, Pete didn't turn up.
Yeah. I saw him the day afterwards, and it not the day afterwards, 2 days afterwards, because we had a show, with a festival show in Berlin. And in his defense, he wasn't in a good place, and it wasn't because, as most people think, most people automatically assume that he just got high, just got fucked, and just decided, fuck it, I'm just not going to turn up. It wasn't that. It was the fact that like it was the week of the record coming out. That was happening at the same time. He was making ardent fucking efforts to really sort himself out. Yeah. It was a London homecoming. It was Camden, where most of his problems started in the first place. Yeah. There were shitloads of people hitting him up. Yeah. I saw text messages from people hitting him up saying, you have to come hang out with us straight after the show. Right. And these people were not the people that anybody in the right mind would want to hang out with. These people these people lead on a road to purgatory. Yeah. And that's what he was dealing with, and he just couldn't handle it. He really couldn't handle it. And like 2 days later, we were sat outside of an airport waiting for Peter to kind of like strap himself in and be ready, and he just wasn't. 6 hours later, we were like 6 hours late for flight. Yeah. And luckily, it was a private jet. And I complained about the private jet scenario because it was like, this is costing us a fucking fortune. Are you kidding me? But on that one occasion, I was like, God damn, am I glad we got a private jet. Yeah. Because we can actually, if things work out, we can still play this show. Yeah. God damn it.
So how difficult is it? I mean, you can talk as much or as little as you want.
It actually isn't.
With Pete,
it's not difficult anymore. It really isn't.
Okay.
That was kind of like the highlight of madness for us. Okay. And prior to that point, I mean, those two shows, it was the Electric Ballroom and Manchester.
Yeah.
those are the only shows we missed in that whole touring cycle of a year. He was great. He was great. He was a fantastic person to be around. It really kind of for us. It harkened back to what it was actually like originally being a Libertine, and it still does.
It must be a great feeling then, because you remember exactly why you're doing it. You know.
I think the mezcal is slowly kicking in.
We've only drunk half of the bottle. That's okay. Sam, because you've released a lot of records over the years, and much like me and much like Gary, you've fallen in and out of love with it. Is there a point where you've been touring recently where you've had the more stripped back shows where you've kind of felt like you've found the love for it again?
It's unrelenting falling in and out of love with it. I think when you're on a mission, do you know what I mean? You just have to question yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's about how much the balance is questioning yourself and how much the balance is committing to just the path that you're on.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's those moments you step back and you go, this is great, I'm really into it. And then, you know, a day later you're like, where am I? What am I doing? These are all the things I haven't done. These are all the people I haven't seen. These are all the things I haven't, got in order.
Yeah. It's a bitch.
And I think that's the thing that people maybe take for granted about being on the road, is that all of the things that are seen as standards for everybody else in life, you actually have to really protect. You have to put barriers around them. Yeah. And then sometimes something happens and everything else gets knocked out. And then 2 or 3 days is just a domino of trying to rebuild the next 3 weeks. And then you get it and it works out fine, and people don't notice a difference. Yeah. And then as soon as, somebody knocks out, it's like, it's unreliable, he's unreliable, he's late, or, this has happened because he's stayed out partying. It's like, well, there's a mechanism of loads of people in an environment, and that's the thing I find the most difficult. I mean, that's the main reason I've just started touring on my own again. Like, it's really the thing that I miss the most about touring in a big, in a big group of people and a big crew and everything was I kind of like just chatting to strangers. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And not for any reason other than the fact that it's like if these people are invested in what I'm doing, then the chances are there's, especially with it being kind of political or social stuff, I want to find out what's on their heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, otherwise I'm just chatting to wankers in a backstage bar.
Whereas I'm slightly different to you in that, like, generally speaking, with the Libs and everything else, I am touring with large parties of people. And what I love most about it is the fact that on those odd occasions, you get those times by yourself, and those times by yourself are so precious. And that's what sticks out the most for me. Those few moments that you get by yourself. I love those moments.
Because I had one of those this weekend.
I hate all those fuckers, really.
It's like a school trip, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're gonna hate your best mate within 2 days, whether you've been through it or not. And I had one of those moments this weekend. Actually, I was up in the Isle of Bute, and I'm fascinated with places that are like starting to put on festivals and gigs that haven't done anything before, just simply because there must be a reason, there must be a need for it, right? I went up on my own and I had a day on my own in silence. I spent like 9 hours in silence, and I was sitting out thinking, I think this is the first time this has happened in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was weird, because I think other people get their weekends to kind of kick back, whereas generally there's, because I don't mind talking to people that I don't know, in those environments, but people that I do know, everybody wants to get like super analytical about it, and it's like everything's a post-mortem. And like sometimes, like, that's not why I do music.
No, exactly.
I want to be in it, and then I want to be out of it. Do you know what I mean? That hour and a half, like, that's the energy, that's the space I want to be in.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I don't want to be like, oh, that bit. It's like, which bit? I don't know. I don't know. I can barely remember it. I just did it.
I saw you 4 years ago. It was amazing. Do you remember me? I met you.
And there's not really any way as well to like politely say that it's not that I don't want to remember you. It's just that
I was in the moment then, and now I'm in the moment now. And the moment then is a completely different thing to what's going on now.
And I'm glad that you're back in that moment with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a conversation about where you're at now and where I'm at now, not like where we were 4 years ago. Because otherwise it just becomes a loop. Yeah. And like, some people are really good at like retaining that loop.
I was amazing at actually remembering for a while. But now I'm unfortunately not.
Everyone's a Dave or a Steve, so surely that would help.
Everyone's a mate.
Everyone's a mate.
All right, mate.
All right, buddy. Hey, I remember you from that time.
Yeah.
Yo, that was sick.
That time we were at a place with that thing.
So how does it all kind of compare now to the whirlwind that you were in when you first signed? Because I came in and met you a few years after that, but I remember you telling me at the time when that all of this madness that occurred. You were really young when you signed.
Yeah, as a child.
Yeah, and and it seemed fascinating to me that you got kind of thrown in the system, kind of in the last gasp of the major labels where they were doing that whole, kind of push.
Last time they take a risk. Yeah. Someone like me.
They still do that. But I guess all the routine and all the the circles that they do of going on the TV here and doing that and this and all of those things is kind of changed. But how was that whirlwind and coming out of it, and I guess kind of compared to now?
I miss the resources.
Yeah,
like that's the only thing I miss from it. Like we were able to do some mad stuff. We'd be like, oh, this would be really great for press. Let's throw this event. You guys pay for it, and then we'll invite loads of people, and it'll be free. Yeah. Like that's the part I miss. But otherwise, I hated it. Like there was people around all the time who I didn't know, I didn't remember, and every single one of them would tell me what to do, and then there'd be somebody else that tapped me on the shoulder, and they'd be like, "You need to listen to them." Yeah. And I was like, between 18 and 23 during that period of time, and some of those people I saw every day for 5 years and haven't seen since.
Yeah.
And some of those people didn't even bother to turn up for my last Get Cape show. Do you know what I mean? It's like that whole time you are like you're supposed to be protecting
in your corner,
and you're not.
I'm talking to you about your career. Like this is good for your career, like long term, and they have no fucking clue.
But what was good for my career was to take out all the only things that I liked about doing what I was doing, and it was a constant battle to try and be like, I know you guys think you know what's best for me. The problem is what you're saying is what's best for you. Yeah. And you're not thinking about what's best for me. I remember had a run of 45 things. I was like, I need a day off. If I don't have a day off, I'm going to have a meltdown. This is too much stuff. Do you know what I mean? I've got a life as well. Yeah. And, and the inevitable happened, and everyone was like, you should have said something.
You're like, I did.
And that was the moment that I realised that no one gave a fuck. Ching! Do you know what I mean? That was the moment where I was like, you don't
fuck
even
you.
listen.
They don't
to
really
me.
give a fuck.
All you do is you bring all your mates, you come to my dressing room, you take fuckloads of drugs, but not with any of us. Do you know what I mean? And you drink all of our rider, and you tell us how great it is that you built this. Yeah. And I fucking built it, and I built it on my own, and then with my mate.
What actually happened was some A&R guy turned up to his show, and there was 500 people deep, at the beginning, and saw you on stage and looked at you and went, oh my goodness, I found the next new best thing. No, you didn't. At least 500 people there, let alone everyone else on the internet, found that thing. Yeah. You've just fucking arrived. If you were doing your job, you would be there when you were on stage with 10 people playing in front of nobody, a few people two people walking out, and him looking at you going, my goodness, I know how we can develop this, and I'm going to work with this, and we're going to develop this.
But without them, how would I know which way to hold a guitar? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes I put it on backwards, and I'd be like, fuck.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? I just
Thank
needed
God
that guidance.
Thank God for A&Rs.
They are stairs. What you do is... and to be fair, Paul, who looked after me at Atlantic, still he made one promise to me, and it was a free-for-all, to be honest, at the beginning. And I was like, look, I was meeting loads of people, and he's like, I'll be in touch, and I'll be your sounding board if you need one. I still see him, every fortnight. And he made a promise to me, and he kept it.
Yeah, I like that.
But he's the only one.
That is one in the few. That is one in the few.
But he is he is one in a very few.
Yeah.
And because I was going to sign to somebody else, he's like, stop off on the way and come and talk to me. And he's like, look, at the end of the day, if you want to do these political things, I'm the only person in this industry that will do that. And he still works with Wayman, doing all of those events and stuff. It's like him, he's a frontliner. He's
a man of his word.
And he's he was like me. He was a punk. Do you know what I mean? That actually meant it.
That is the one thing that's missing. Your word means absolutely nothing in the industry. No. It really does. I mean, obviously, I've still got my record label, 25 Hour Convenience Store. I mean, I remember when I started working with the Orchard Group, doing all of my distribution, and they took me for a business meeting, and I sat in
in this office, and they had like the kind of the presentations and the music and the wow, and they had cakes and
sold. I'll sign whatever
cakes.
It is.
And everybody was smiling, and everybody was like, "This is what we're going to do for you. We got satellite offices in New York and Azerbaijan, and so wherever your music goes, there'll be somebody on hand if you need a hand. If you're worried about like how sales are going in Eastern Europe, just call the Eastern European office and they can help you." Just genius. And I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. And I'm like, where do I sign? And literally, as soon as I signed and dotted, they went, "Thank you very much." Right, you finished with that. Because we got somebody else coming in now.
That's it. Do you know half a cake? Do you know the
way out? That's good. You know the way out.
But that's the problem with the music industry. The thing that does my head in is that I'd go out for a £300 dinner and I couldn't pay £200 for an engineer. And it's like, well, what am I doing then? Do you know what I mean? Am I going out for dinner for a living? Because I could do that as well. Do you know what I mean? That'd be a great job. People just say, all the things that you're going to do are great. And that's wicked. Yeah. But when I actually want to do them, if you're not going to support me,
if you're not going to support me, what is the point?
And it was like, it's been a weird journey since then, to be honest. Like, there's a weird blip where, like, I got misdiagnosed with cancer. That was pretty wild. And that was the moment I really realised who was actually in it with me, do you know what I mean? Because most people are like, some people are like, "Sorry to hear about your illness, Sam. Let me know when you want to start doing stuff." It's like, well, maybe don't just say, just start with like, hope you're all right, mate. Like, not just like, when you're ready to do stuff, we'll support you. It's like, how about, what if I'm not? Do you know what I mean? How about that consideration? How about the humanity of it? And
if you're still alive in a week, give me a call. We can do some stuff.
Is it going to be your mum? Is it going to be your dad? Or is it going to be your lawyer handling your estate? Which of your unreleased songs are you happy to put out? Do you know what I mean? And that's what it felt like. And I don't know, music's bollocks, isn't it? Like,
it is,
it's a grassroots world full of people that really give a shit, and it's run by 5% of people that don't give a shit.
They really don't give a shit.
And they run everything.
PRs, publishers, none of them give a fuck.
And half of my battle right now, and this is what, when you said about, like, are there those moments? Those moments are, it's like, are there ever not going to be those people pulling the strings? And I think it is changing because I think more people care. Yep. Like, I think we're in this weird situation in life anyway. We've got this glass ceiling because, like, everybody, like, middle management is like the upper level for anybody until they get to 40 because they're people they're holding tight to their jobs because they've been on the same cycle. Yeah. And I think music still has that. Yeah. But those people are basing their models off, like, 80 spending.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, we haven't got a lot of money for a video. We got about 10 grand. It's like,
well, that is a problem. That is a problem with the British model of the music industry and the digital model. The British model was basically, I mean, I was told by a very influential source that like the sale of flowers was quite an important thing. Because the sale of flowers actually meant something else, and they were selling a lot of goddamn flowers. It was something else that the industry thought everybody wanted. Oh, you're signing a deal. Let's get you some flowers. Let's get you a lot of flowers.
So they put that in the budget?
Yeah, they put it in the budget.
Wow.
Totally in the budget.
Jesus Christ.
Totally in the budget.
Never underestimate the extras on a recording budget. People are like, your extras are really low. It's like,
just spend it all on cocaine. Come on now.
We didn't really need anything. And they were like, but it's there. It's like, that's the, like, not being into that world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, shit, okay. Like, my P&L sheets are not based on my creativity. They're based on how many parties I have with people to try and keep people on board. And people started going, it's all got a little bit serious. It's like, well, what's not serious about making a record?
Yeah. That's the thing that I really liked about Kill Your Friends. I know a lot of people didn't like that film, but like I hadn't read the book. But there was a lot of real shit in that film. There was a lot of A&Rs in that film that I've met in real life. You know what I mean? A lot of the cunts.
A lot of those people looking after me when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think the thing is with that whole world is it's still seen as aspirational.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember that time we went to go and see the band? They didn't really see much of the show, but the night after was
night afterwards was amazing.
And like, there's a point where dinosaurs get extinct, right? And I think that nobody listened when it came to digital, but now people have got to listen when there's like no money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, hopefully that's the point where like the DIY elements of it and the actual creativity of like, you know, like this. Do you know what I mean? This is, we're in your living room, you know, talking to the internet, and it's great. I mean? And like, and people are either going to learn stuff or be entertained or something. Yeah. But like,
someone's probably wanking. I mean,
I hope so. Do you know what I mean?
I also hope.
I would be disappointed if somebody on that Facebook live stream is not multi-tabbing right now. Do you know what I mean?
I want someone wanking, playing Pokemon Go and watching us right now. Then I'll be really happy with that. And that is
how can you wank with your phone in your hand?
Hey, you know what? I found out.
It's easy.
I found out yesterday that there's a thing called Pokemon Goo.
Oh, where is it?
But it's if you bust one when you're playing Pokemon Go, it's called Pokemon Goo. I mean, that's pretty fucking that's a thing. I read it.
It's good to know that we can debase anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
As long as something's a thing for 2 weeks, we can turn it into.
And you know what? That is a perfect moment to have the tradition of a piss break.
The lobby.
All right, let's do this. Let's do it. No, you're not doing the show yet. All right, cool. So we're back. Thanks for trying podcast, episode 6 after the piss break. Gary didn't take one.
I didn't go.
You didn't go. Sam took one. Sam took 2.
I did.
Impressive. That's a first. Someone's going to have to beat that next episode. I took 1.
I might beat it in the next 5 minutes.
I told you they always say I don't need one, and then they always need one. And so before we get deep into our further chats, it is now time for the tradition of the shot, and time for me to actually shout out the sponsor of today's episode, which is Monte Alban Mezcal. Again, they did last month. It was fucking delicious. Thank you very much for the booze, and let's fucking cheers. Lovely to see you.
Cheers.
Monte. Oh yeah. That was more painful than usual.
Holy shit, boys. That was the biggest shot I've ever had in my entire... No, well, the biggest shot I've had this week. It's Monday.
And you know there's a worm at the bottom of this, right?
I'll give me worm. I'll take one.
Really? I don't want to watch
I like the sidecar worms.
I've done the worms. Oh, I was going to ask you something beforehand.
Hit me.
Why is tequila called tequila?
Go on.
I'll give you a clue.
Is this a joke or a fact?
No, it's a fact, bitch. Okay, I don't do jokes. You've known me for long. Oh, actually, I do. It's well, the clue is champagne.
Oh, so it's from the town. So tequila's from the town of Champagne. Hey.
Tequila comes from tequila. If it ain't from tequila in Guadalajara, it ain't tequila.
Wow,
it's mezcal.
Oh wow, that's fucking fantastic.
And we drinking mezcal.
Have you? So you're a huge wrestling fan.
I'm a huge wrestling fan.
And you go to the wrestling?
Yeah, on a regular basis if I can.
Do you boo? Do you hiss?
I get drunk and I shout and go wild. Yeah, of course.
Do you hold a sign?
No. I can't hold a drink.
You can have do you wear a t-shirt with a?
I'm wearing a t-shirt now.
No, with a wrestling thing on it.
This is a wrestling t-shirt.
He's wearing a t-shirt with a wrestling thing on it.
What's that? Oh yeah, sick.
See, that's not
he is. For people listening at home, he's wearing a t-shirt and the guy's wearing one of them masks, one of those wrestling masks. Sick.
For the wrestling fans out there, this is a 2002 El Generico t-shirt.
I think I've actually got that mask. I've got about 10 masks.
Sorry, what do you do with those masks and why do you have them?
I wear them.
Cool. You're a vigilante solving crimes.
I like the fact that you laughed quite innocently.
This is your Batman voice.
Kind of gives me the impression that you might want to wear one too.
Feels like the moment we need to establish a safe word.
Pineapple.
What was it? You must have seen Armageddon.
The film.
Felching.
No, what?
The video about felching?
No, and I don't really
With two guys in Utah are felching, and there's a newscaster that's supposedly a mock newscaster. I'm guessing it was a mock newscaster.
Yeah.
And the outward was Armageddon, but it didn't quite work. So one of the partners lit a lighter and peered down a tube. But unfortunately, the gas from the lighter kind of went down the tube and went into the other guy's intestinal tract.
Yeah,
and
so there's a lot of different definitions of felching.
Yes, but
there's a lot of different
out flew the gerbil.
So this is a gerbil related felching.
Yeah, this is a gerbil felching.
Okay.
I love the idea that people must think that this toilet break is 2 hours because people just come back from it straight into felching.
You know what? This always happens though. I think it's when you stand up you realise that you're actually drunk.
I think it's when you realise what you're doing.
Yeah,
I didn't stand up.
He didn't stand up. Here he is. He wants the mezcal from the town of Mezcal.
You boys are going pretty good.
Yeah, I know.
I should clarify that I'm not drinking it, just for my friends that think I'm lying when I say that I'm allergic.
Yes, Sam Duckworth is allergic to tequila and mezcal, so he's not drinking it. And I've never heard of anyone allergic to it. So tell me because is this like a full nut allergy vibes?
I did a triple shot, and then I went into anaphylactic shock straight away.
Holy shit!
And then the second time I drank it was I was at a bar and I was like,
was it straight after? You're like, no, that's fine.
No. I'm not allergic to anything, but my dad's allergic to alcohol pretty much.
Right.
There's maybe I just don't notice my face going really red, but I don't know. Look, from where I'm from, people go really red when they drink.
Right.
Your neck kind of gets a bit closed up.
Right.
My younger sister and my uncle and me, we kind of just ploughed through, and we were like, we'll work it out. But my dad and my older sister are allergic to quite a few things.
Yeah.
And so I did a triple shot and. And then, so I went to a bar and I was like, look, make sure it's got no tequila in it. And the guy came back and I drank 3 sips of it. And my throat was closing. I was like, is there tequila in it? It's like, yeah, I just thought you were joking.
How the fuck do you get that wrong?
I think it's because people don't believe. Yeah, but they don't believe.
That's the moment I stopped saying I was allergic to stuff. Yeah. That's the moment I stopped being allergic to hard work.
I'm allergic to beer, but I can't fucking drink that shit. You know, as you get older, you know what works with you and what doesn't work with you. And that's not being a bitch. If anything, that's being tough.
That's being strong.
That's strong.
That's not conforming.
Sure, I'm held together by sellotape.
Idea of what you should be doing. Fuck that shit.
Hey, society.
I'm gonna wear a tutu, and you're gonna fucking like it.
I'm gonna wear 2 tutus.
From felching to emotional confessional in 2 minutes. This is the Thanks for Trying podcast in a nutshell, isn't it?
This is what happens. So back to the felching. So this guy had a gerbil and it came out and then...
Oh, it didn't come out.
Oh, it didn't come... It stayed in there.
It did, and but then the guy's intestinal tract kind of exploded.
Right.
And the guy that was peering down it holding a lighter, his face got burnt and hands got burnt. But the whole the password, the get out word was... Armageddon!
Oh, right.
And Armageddon didn't actually quite work. Armageddon actually kind of brought on Armageddon!
So was the gerbil okay? I mean, that's a quote.
The gerbil was actually apparently fine.
Great, well, that's all right then.
As long as the gerbil's fine.
That's my main
I'm
concern.
sure the gerbil didn't want to be up nobody's asshole anyway.
No, maybe the gerbil knew the safe word.
If you've accidentally vacuumed up a gerbil, you know that they're pretty resilient. You know what I mean? If anyone's going to survive that, it's going to be the
I've never
gerbil.
vacuumed up a gerbil. Have you done that?
No, I haven't. But I have seen it happen.
You've seen it happen?
And that's not
I had a gerbil.
Oh, yeah? Go on.
No, I didn't.
That was
my
great.
stomach hurts. God damn.
I no longer have a gerbil.
As tangents go.
That's really... so, wrestling. Right. So you go to the wrestling... So I went to the wrestling for... Actually, I went as a kid. My mum took me to Royal Albert Hall to go watch in the heyday of when I used to really watch wrestling. Bret Hitman Hart.
I know what you're going to say, and I'm extremely jealous.
Bret Hitman
WWF.
Hart. Yeah, WWF, Mr. Perfect, all
Jimmy
my favorites.
Superfly Stuka.
Oh yeah,
he was my man. Jimmy Superfly motherfucking Stuka could kick anybody.
He was the guy, and he had great trousers as well.
Fucking did.
And he did the flying double.
Got away with it.
Yes, he did.
The flying kick thing.
After second rung first, and then after third rung.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Superfly Stuka was a badass.
I've been out in bars and people have said things to me and I've just gone, I wish Jimmy Superfly Stuka was here. He would kill you.
And there was also a lot of vaguely...
He just got away with it.
There was also lots of vaguely racist wrestlers back then, which was a bit...
that's not changed.
Kamala, Virgil...
Nation of Domination.
Oh my goodness, the Nation of Domination. I forgot all about that.
But then you had really good ones. Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom were awesome.
They were the best. And so I went there, bless my mum. My dad has no interest in sports, never did as a kid. And so my mum, she took me to all the Arsenal games, and also she took me to the wrestling, which is fucking incredible. And so I saw this amazing wrestling thing. And then in recent years, when I met MVP and we just became mates over eating burgers together, and he'd pick up MVPs, he's fucking incredible WWE champ. And I went to go see him last year when he did TNA. He came to do TNA in England, and he was a villain, and I didn't know this. And so I walked in, so it was Wembley Arena, and he walks in, and you're like, oh, it's my mate, and they were like, MVP, and everyone's just booing so much, and I don't know what to do. I just felt really bad. I was like, they're booing my friend. I don't feel happy about this.
Did you feel like
he deserved it.
People?
Yeah, I did. And Eamon Holmes was there, and I felt like hitting him the most.
I think the fact that you were in an environment where it's legitimately acceptable to whack Eamon Holmes and you didn't. I am so ashamed of you, man.
So disappointed.
I hate Eamon
disappointment
Holmes.
is strong.
I remember doing an interview with Eamon Holmes before I did an Oxfam event. Do you know what I mean? Oxfam, you can't really question Oxfam. He goes, is there really any point in this though? Is it just busybody stuff? I was like, it's fucking Oxfam, dude.
He tries to be funny.
Kids want water. It's all right.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Eamon's a twat.
Eamon.
I can't believe you didn't whack him.
I should have done.
What was he doing at the wrestling?
He was in the front row.
Was he?
I didn't even know he was there until the announcer goes, and welcome everybody to TNA. In the crowd tonight we have the cast of The Only Way is Essex and Eamon Holmes.
The Only Way is Essex and Eamon Holmes.
And Eamon Holmes, second. There's so many interesting, I find it fascinating because it's the pushing of sports people that we see on TV and we idolize all the time.
Stop! I'm taking over now.
Hammer time.
What do you? Yeah, exactly, baby. You got that. What do you think about the kind of adjudication with reference to Russia and the Olympic Games?
Oh, I just saw that. Yeah, that's mad.
I reckon if it was a smaller, less known nation, it would be nothing. They would be fucking out without a doubt.
I think we've got to get over this idea that the Olympics is good for society because...
that's a good point.
We're looking at Rio and they haven't got running water and they're bulldozing favelas and they're shooting people that are standing up for the places that they live. But it's institutional corruption in the Olympics.
Totally.
But the Olympics 100%. Is supposed to be amateur sport. It's supposed to be endeavour. It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be a bunch of people in Greece in leotards and or whatever it was back in the day,
which is exactly
killing tigers with their hands.
The thing is, if you're not gonna pay people that spend 4 years dedicating their life rowing up and down Kingston Thames to come eighth, when are we in a situation where suddenly it becomes corporate protectionism?
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's the problem with the Olympics is that basically the reason that Russian athletes aren't getting suspended is because no one wants to push the button in that region.
Everybody's too scared to push the button in that region.
They've sent so many troops to NATO. NATO sent so many troops on those borders. Do you know what I mean? Georgia, and bearing in mind they got the World Cup in 3 years. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine turning around to him and saying, you're institutionalized doping of athletes is unacceptable. People don't want to fuck with him.
They're all on some kind of something. Surely, I would need it to get through that shit.
I think some of them weren't, and I think that's the situation that sucks. But
I mean, everyone in the Olympics.
But it's like a cultural boycott, in apartheid or whatever. You draw a line and that's it.
Mo Farah, he's on something. Corn. He says it on TV. He's on corn, and that shit works for him. He's on corn. He's on corn.
But he just eats a lot of corn.
He is the worst.
He loves that corn shit.
He's the worst spokesperson for anything ever.
He's addicted to that corn shit.
Have you seen the advert?
No.
It's a corn advert. Hi, I'm Mo Farah.
Yeah,
I run really fast because I eat corn.
I don't have a TV, so that's
most people
kind of
play run around table tennis. He was playing run around tennis on Korn.
Holy shit.
I reckon ban that motherfucker.
What? He had so much
doping.
Hey, corn is the most likely to be GMO anyway.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh fuck yeah!
I think we're onto something. I think there's a conspiracy at work here. Corn, genetically modified corn, Mo Farah. Fucking hell. Just to think, 10 minutes ago we were talking about felching.
I was going to go somewhere with that, but then I decided maybe not a good idea.
I don't know anymore. Oh, God. I'm so definitely drunk right now. So yeah, wrestling, MVP. So people were booing my mate, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about that. I felt very protective. I wanted to...
You felt proud. That's what he wanted.
That's what I said to him after. And he was like, no, it's good. He goes, I don't care whether they're booing or they're clapping. I feel great. And I was like, cool.
That's what I say after my DJ set.
That's what I say after sex.
He's just probably proud that in the arena of all the youngsters and all the hardcore wrestling fans, there was still somebody that missed the point. You know, he's probably just happy that you were that guy. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. I mean, he's a good dude.
He's amazing.
He's fucking brilliant.
He's an underrated wrestler as well.
Yeah.
You know, dedicated a very, very long... Like, you know, his background's mad, isn't it? If you think about it,
the stories he's told me is just insane.
But just
because he was in jail and he learned to wrestle in jail, and then he came out and he killed it. You know, that's fucking crazy.
And he left wrestling to further the art form. And like you're laughing away.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about. Have
you got a montage in your head?
Are you? What song is playing in your montage?
I am a real
Frozen.
American.
Frozen?
Yeah,
that's not a montage song.
It's a damn good montage song. I will kid
bullshit.
you not.
No, what you really need is like "Don't You Forget About Me" by Simple Minds. That's a good montage song.
I was told a story by someone whose name will stay.
Was it Britney Spears?
Unmentioned. No, it wasn't Britney Spears.
Because I want to talk to you about the Britney Spears story.
I know
that's what I was going to ask you about.
I do have a Britney Spears story.
So tell me about Britney Spears. Go on. I want to know your Britney Spears. I want to know your Britney Spears story. I've been excited to ask you.
No, the Britney Spears story. It was like when back in the day with the Libs, we just played CBGBs just before it had closed.
Wow, wicked.
Really
How was that?
It was
shit. Was it?
Really? Yeah, it was awful. It was fucking awful because it's a long strip of a bar with no soundproofing whatsoever. So you start playing on stage.
What were the staff like though? Were they nice?
Staff didn't give a flying fuck.
Right.
Yeah, didn't give a flying fuck. And the worst thing is, like back in the heyday, this is when we just kind of finished touring Europe, so we're still being dicks, and we just started touring America, so we're major dicks because we'd never been touring in America beforehand. We arrived at CBGB's and we just kind of decided that we needed to kind of drink straight away. It was an amazing feat for us to do, but it was also kind of like at that young age, kind of like ultra embarrassing for like Pete, Carl, especially John. When John did it, John was still 21 at that point in time, and he was still now he's completely clean, but he was still kind of like a weed smoker, and he just kind of like cleaned himself up from smoking crack and was kind of still drinking, but it was kind of on the path of sorting himself out. And it was loud, it was raucous. Everybody thought they were cool in there, and it kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for us, it's kind of one of those things that has flown by us. It should be a riotous, momentous occasion for us.
I think just getting to play there is pretty, do you know what I mean?
It should be, but unfortunately for us...
It's top table for punk rock.
Unfortunately for us, it just didn't kind of feel like that. It was kind of, we arrived...
Was that from being just in the circuit of...
It literally was just encompassing the environment and then kind of arriving after everything that we'd done.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was kind of, we were just kind of like maybe
would you do it differently if you were doing it, if it was a thing
I think we'd do it exactly the same, to be honest. If we were doing it now, I think we would do it exactly the same.
Okay.
But I think it was more to do with the fact that we were just kind of so unsure of ourselves that we had no idea at that point in time what it actually meant to play in CBGBs. Yeah. If we were actually more assured of ourselves, we would go there and be the band that would say, "Oh my God, we're playing CBGBs." Mm-hmm. But we arrived and we were like, "Where's the stage?" I've got no idea.
So wait a second. All of this very interesting, but none of it involves Britney Spears.
Stop laughing at me. Laugh at me.
Tell me more about that curtain. Tell me about Britney Spears, damn it.
This is quite serious. This is quite serious.
All right, cool.
Bear with me, drink your beer. Like prior to like flying out to New York, we were playing a show. We were playing Summer Sonic in Japan.
Okay.
But prior to that, we were playing a pub in Islington, the Lark in the Park. Which doesn't exist anymore. Playing the Lark in the Park. Yep. And we had a meeting outside of the Lark in the Park with reference to us flying out to Japan. Mm-hmm. And while the meeting was happening with our then manager, Benny Pucci, my phone was like constantly ringing. And then eventually I was just like, "Oh, fuck me, just give me a minute." I picked up the phone. It was my younger brother. And I said, "Julian, what?" He went, "Stephen's dead." Most people know me and my American kind of like affiliation and so forth. The person that I hung out the most with was my cousin Stephen.
Right.
Died of renal failure. Everything just collapsed.
Yeah.
Everything collapsed. And in that, like, 10 minutes before we played at the Lark in the Park, I had literally everybody in New Jersey calling me up regarding what was happening with me when we eventually arrived in New Jersey.
Post-Japan, yeah.
Post-Japan, everything. But most importantly, my Aunt Cynthia, who was Stephen's mom, she said, "I want you to come with me to choose a gravestone." Right. Don't worry, this has kind of a happy ending. It sounds kind of grim, but it does have a happy ending. Right. So it's like I spoke to my Aunt Cynthia, and she was like, "Yeah, I know you got the show at this time because you sent the schedule prior and stuff, so all good." So everything's good. We go to Japan. We have a great time in Japan. I'm as much of a dick as I am normally in Japan. It's totally fine. It's not a problem. We get to New York. We play. What did we play? On Canal Street in New York. Blah blah blah. I can't remember what it's called.
CBGB. Did you play? This is a separate time.
We played CBGBs and we played somewhere else. But then we went to the.
What was the point of the CBGB story?
So I can't remember.
I'm fascinated by the place.
He played
Somebody brought up CBGB.
No. What does this have to do with Britney Spears? Sorry.
No, I'm gonna get there.
All right,
I'm gonna get there because this is about we played CBGBs first.
Okay.
And after we played the show in Deluxe in Brooklyn, I was going to go directly to my grand's in New Jersey. And then my aunt was gonna come pick me up and we're gonna choose a gravestone.
Right.
But we came off the stage and there was American management, there was UK management, there was labels everywhere. And they were all kind of sat around me and they just kind of said like, "We've got like a studio time booked for tomorrow. We know you've got something booked for tomorrow as well. That is equally as important." And I was just like, "Fuck no, I'm not fucking doing it."
First.
And then finally, I had my manager saying, "So are you going to call your aunt?" Because she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Can you call your aunt to say that you're rescheduling?" I had to call my aunt and saying, "I'm really, really sorry, but I'm not gonna make it. And she was just like, "I understand you're working. It's totally fine," which made me feel better. But the next day I woke up. I remember I put the TV on and I had my breakfast and I was just kind of like, and I just kind of looked over at the door and this note slipped underneath the door and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" So anyway, I kind of like saw the note and all of a sudden everything just kind of dropped and I was like, "Oh, fuck." So I realized it's not going to happen. Then, funnily enough, I got a call from my friend Dana Dynamite, who knew where I was going.
That's a great name. Please tell me that's a real name.
And she called us up and she's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, I'm in the flat." And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing in the flat? You're supposed to be in New Jersey." And she was like, "I'm coming over." I haven't even finished the story. And she, at this point in time, is kind of like hanging out with Ashton Kutcher. So she and Ashton, they come over. And they see me being extremely, extremely pissed off. And I explain the scenario to them. And Ashton's like, "Fuck it, we're gonna get some food." And Ashton is all of the time looking at me. This is why I don't get what any fucker says. Fucking great guy. And Ashton then just said,
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Lovely bloke.
Yeah, no, fucking great guy. Ashton then just said, I'm like, fuck it. We're gonna go see one of my friends. Let's go. We get in this car and we drive and we end up at this building in kind of the meatpacking district. We get in this elevator and we go up this elevator. Yeah. And then I'm just kind of stood there thinking, I all the time I just remember thinking to myself, I just want to go back to my room and just chill. Until the elevator doors just kind of opened up and this girl just went, how y'all doing? And I looked and I went, wait, you're Britney. And she was so fucking cool. The whole fucking night, she was awesome. She had no idea what was going on in my life. No idea whatsoever.
You did meet her with Ashton Kutcher.
I met her with Ashton Kutcher, yeah.
That's fucking insane.
You're damn straight it is.
That's great.
Britney Spears was awesome. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
What was the maddest thing she said to you?
I don't know. I got quite drunk.
What did she eat? What kind of snacks does she like?
There was no snacks. There were no snacks whatsoever.
I don't want to meet her anymore.
There were no snacks whatsoever. There was talking. There were like lots of people. Well, there weren't even lots of people around. I think when we arrived, there was about maybe 8 or so people around, and they were just all very, very cool. None of them were, you know, normally, especially in London, you get this Shoreditch and stuff and all of those supposed cool areas.
Everyone's cunts.
And none of them were like that. None of them. Everybody was like, hi, how you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So nice meeting you. And they would all chat to you. And I was just like, what the fuck am I? Jesus. It was kind of like a very cool epitaph to a very, very shit day.
Right. Well, I mean, I hope...
Did you make it to New Jersey?
The day later, yeah.
Oh, good. So you did it in the end.
Good.
Oh, well, that's all right.
We did the day later.
Fuck.
With a massive hangover.
I definitely would have...
But a massive hangover that I was more than happy to have.
Because you were there all night drinking with Britney Spears?
Yeah, I was.
Jesus Christ.
I was there all night drinking with Britney Spears, and I was there all night with friends that actually cared about me at that point in time. At a point in time in my life where Ashton Kutcher and my friend Dana knew exactly what I was going through. And they were just like, fuck it, we're going to power through it. And these were the people that I actually needed around me at that point in time.
That's nice.
So I was like, yeah, that's totally cool.
Wow.
No one else did.
No one else? Not Christina Aguilera.
Libertines.
Not Christina Aguilera. Not Anastasia. None of them cared of the time. What year was this? I'm trying to think of other pop stars from that time.
It was a very, very sore moment in my time with the band.
It must have been really intense.
It was extremely intense. And those guys knew it was intense.
Right.
Because they knew they fucked up. Yeah. They knew they totally fucked up. But it wasn't just fucking up. It was something that was massively important on any level.
Were they just people just missing this situation because they wrapped up in everything else, or was it right?
Yeah.
Fuck, that must have been hard.
It was, It was.
Because no matter how exciting everything is, it's life.
Well, the thing was, I remember I can't remember what we had to do next, but we had shit to do the next day, and I was just like, you know something?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing it. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. But I knew in my heart of hearts I couldn't fucking do that.
Yeah.
If it's something that I have to do, I've got to fucking do it. Yeah. And even if it's kind of like coming close to something else, I don't give a fuck. I've got to do it because I've committed myself to it.
Yeah, right.
And I don't give a fuck about letting anyone else down. I'm letting myself down if I don't follow through and do what I say I'm going to do.
It's real life.
It's real life.
And that's way more important than the music bullshit.
Fuck, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You fucking know it. Yeah. And I know you know it. And I know the majority of people listening to this, they know real life too.
They might still be wanking over
And that's why we like you.
So might still be Pokemon gooing.
That's why we don't like you.
If they've been wanking for that story, God. Maybe
you motherfuckers, you should tune out.
Maybe they need to find another place on the internet to hang out. Do you know what I mean?
And there's a lot of them. That's a beautiful, perfect moment to say thank you very much to my guests for coming down to the Thanks for Trying podcast, episode 6, Sam Duckworth. I've had a few too many mezcals. Sam Duckworth and Gary Powell.
Thank you very much.
Mic drop. Done.
You have been listening to the Thanks for Trying podcast, episode 6, with my very special guests Sam Duckworth and Gary Powell of the Libertines. Thank you to everyone who came down into the front room to listen to this episode. Thank you to Monte Alban Mezcal
Thanks to Seb White. Thank you to you for listening. Thanks to everyone that was tuned in on the Facebook live stream. For the next episode, keep watch to my Facebook fan page of The Last Skeptik, because we will be doing a live stream of the next one as well, which will be next month. Thanks for Trying podcast will return in September.